Do you ever feel like adulthood was sold to us like a scam? Like someone promised you a future that never actually existed, and now you're just stuck trying to make sense of it? Because that's how it feels sometimes. We grew up believing adulthood was this grand milestone: freedom, stability, happiness. But the truth? It's nothing like what we were told. When we were kids, adults painted a picture. They said, work hard in school, go to university, get a good job, buy a house, settle down, and everything will fall into place. It sounded so simple. Almost guaranteed? We thought adulthood meant finally having control. That once we hit our 20s or 30s, we'd figure it out, have money in the bank, a home, maybe a family, and peace of mind. But no one told us the truth, that the world they described doesn't exist anymore. The reality is, adulthood for most of us looks like working full-time just to afford rent, constantly worrying about money, feeling like you're running in place while everyone else is miles ahead. We entered adulthood during a time of rising costs, stagnant wages, and impossible expectations. They told us to get a degree, but not that it might leave us buried in debt. They told us to save for a house, but not that housing prices would skyrocket beyond reach. They told us to find a stable job, but not that stability itself would disappear. And now when we're struggling, we're told we just need to work harder, as if we're not already giving everything we have just to stay afloat. Somehow adulthood turned into a race, a silent competition. By 25, you're supposed to have a career. By 30, a house. By 35, a family. But what if you don't? What if you're still figuring things out? What if you're just trying to survive? There's this constant background noise whispering, "You're behind?" Scrolling through social media doesn't help. Everyone's posting their highlight reels. New jobs, new houses, engagements, holidays. And you sit there thinking, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You're living in a completely different world. One where the old milestones don't make sense anymore. We were raised to chase achievements instead of peace, to value productivity over happiness, to measure worth by how much we earn or own. And it's exhausting. You wake up every day already behind, already anxious, already comparing. The world tells you to dream big, but punishes you for not conforming. It tells you to find yourself, but gives you no time to breathe. It tells you to be grateful, while you're drowning in bills, pressure, and burnout. And when you finally stop and say, I'm tired, people look at you like you're weak. But being tired doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. The biggest lie we were told about adulthood is that there's a point where you finally make it. Like one day you wake up and everything clicks, you're happy, secure, content. But life doesn't work that way. There's no finish line, no point where everything suddenly feels perfect. Even people who made it, with the dream job, the nice house, the family, still feel lost sometimes, because fulfillment doesn't come from ticking boxes. It comes from building something that feels right for you. Maybe your version of success isn't a house. Maybe it's peace of mind. Maybe it's being creative, or traveling, or spending time with people you love. Maybe it's just being okay, and that's enough. The truth is, adulthood isn't a list of milestones. It's a process, messy, unpredictable, and deeply personal. It's about learning how to live with uncertainty, how to keep showing up even when everything feels unstable, how to find small pieces of meaning in an exhausting world. We get to redefine what growing up means. We get to decide that happiness doesn't have to wait for success. We get to choose purpose over perfection. Because maybe adulthood isn't about having it all together. Maybe it's about learning how to keep going, even when you don't. Here's what I've realized. We might be living through one of the hardest times to be young, but we're also one of the most self-aware generations to ever exist. We talk about mental health. We question the system. We challenge old ideas. And maybe that's what growing up really means. Not becoming what they told us to be, but becoming who we actually are. If you feel lost, you're not alone. If you're still figuring life out, That's normal. And if you haven't made it yet, maybe you already have, just by surviving another day in a world that wasn't built for you. Because real adulthood, it's not about ticking off milestones. It's about learning to live honestly, fully, imperfectly, on your own terms. So no, you're not behind. You're not failing. You're just human. And that's enough. If this hit home for you, you're exactly who I made this for. We don't have to keep pretending life is easy. We just have to keep trying together.